So let's start with the first question. From a rectangle ABCD of area 588 square centimeter, a semicircular part with diameter AB and area 77 square centimeter is removed. The perimeter of the leftover portion in centimeter is. So if we have a rectangle and let's say the rectangle is ABCD. Now there is a semicircular portion of diameter AB that has been cut out. The area of this semicircular portion is 77. So what is the area of a semicircle? So area of a semicircle is going to be half of pi taken as 22/7 and r square, right? And this is given to us as 77. So from here, if we solve, we will get the value of r is equal to 11, right? So we have r is equal to, so 11 goes away, 2 goes away, 7 into 7. Okay, fine. So r is going to be actually 7 and not 11. 11 will cancel out, right? So the radius is 7 here. So that means one of the sides of this rectangle is 14. Now, we need 14 into what number results in 588. So this is going to be 14 into 4 is 56, and so we'll have 42. So 42 is the other side, right? We need the perimeter of the leftover portion. So the perimeter of this part is going to be 42. I mean the length of that part. This is going to be another 42. This one is going to be 14. And this portion is going to be the half of circumference of this circle. So which is going to be half 2 pi r, r being 7. So 2 and 7, they go away. So we will have this as 84 plus 14 plus 22, 120. So 120 centimeter is going to be the perimeter of the leftover portion, which I have marked in yellow line, right? Okay, let's look at the next question. In the meantime, yeah, good afternoon, Harish, Sonali, happy Diwali. Sonali, happy Diwali. Okay, so let's look into the next question. If n and x are positive integers such that n to the power n is 3324 and n square plus 9n is an integral multiple of 9 to the power x, then the largest possible x is. So what is the maximum value that x can take? Okay, so we have n to the power n given as 3324, right? And then it is given that n into n plus 9 is a multiple of 9 to the power x, so k times. Okay, k is not 0. So we need to find out ki x kitna ho sakta hai. In other words, whatever value of n we get, what is the highest value of this product n into n plus 9 is going to be in terms of 9 ka power. So since this is three three two four, right? So 2 to the power 2 तो sense नहीं बनता, right? 3 to the power 3, 4 to the power 4, 5 to the power 5. 5 to the power 5 is actually 3125. 6 to the power 6 is way more than that. So we need to find out the value of n where this 3324, it makes sense. And we are also not talking about n is an integer as well. See, 6 to the power 6 will end in 6 only, no? 31, 33, 24 it can't be. We can have around 45,000 के आसपास होगा 6 to the power 6. And is there any typo in the question? Doesn't look like. We need a positive integer. Okay, let's come back to this question later on because not sure that if it makes sense, right? कोई नहीं, वापस आ जाएंगे. A chord of length 10 cm subtends an angle of 60 degrees at the center of a circle. So we have a circle of length 10 centimeter. So I will use different color for lengths, and this is being the center. And if we join this, whenever you join the endpoints of the chord of any chord with the center, you always get an isosceles triangle. So these two sides are equal, which is going to be equal to the radii of the circle, right? And since this is an isosceles triangle and it makes an angle of 60 degrees here, that means it turns into an equilateral triangle. So that means the radius is also going to be 10 centimeter. So the question is, the length of a chord that subtends an angle of 120 degrees at the center of the same circle is going to be how much? So if we need 120 centimeter subtend करने के लिए, so we know that now that the radius is 10 only, and if it makes 120 degrees here, so this is going to be 10. If I drop a perpendicular, so it changes into a 30, 60, 90 right angle triangle. Opposite to 90, if you have 10, which is the radius, so opposite to 30 you will have 5, and opposite to 60, this is going to be 60 degrees. This length is going to be 5 root 3. If this is 5 root 3, the other part is also going to be 5 root 3. The length of that chord is going to be 10 root 3. In other words, root 3 times करना है हमें. Okay, next question. If p square is equal to q to the power 5 is equal to r to the power 10 is equal to s to the power 9, then find the value of log pqr to the base s. So I'll change that. s को मैं base कर देता हूँ. Right? So that it makes sense. So this is going to be equal to what? So when we have questions like these, you need to convert p, q, r all in terms of s. So from here we can say p is going to be s to the power 9 by 2, q is going to be s to the power 9 by 5, and r is going to be s to the power 9 by 10. Right? So if we put these values, we will have log s, and then we will have p into q into r. That will result in s to the power 9 by 2 plus 9 by 5 plus 9 by 10. So this is what we will have. Since the denominators are 5 throughout, so what we can do is इसका LCM ले लेते हैं. This will come outside, isn't it? So a huge hint is that 9 will be outside, right? And 10 will be outside. 9 by 10 is common. नीचे में 10 लिखेंगे, ऊपर 9. So the answer should be in the table of 9, which B and C, they definitely are not. So we will have 9 into 5, which is 45, plus 9 into 2, 18, and sorry, 9 is outside, no? So we will be left with only 5 and 2 and then 1. So we will have 9 into 8 by 10, which is 9 into 4 by 5, which is 36 upon 5. So D option. Okay, next. In a tournament, there are 52 junior level and 64 senior level participants. Each pair of juniors play one match. Each pair of seniors play one match. There is no junior versus senior match. The number of girl versus girl matches in junior level is 351, while the number of boy versus boy matches in senior level is 378. The number of matches a boy plays against a girl is. So it may look like a PNC question, but it's actually not. So we have 52 junior level में 52 है, right? Out of these 52, suppose there are certain number of girls here. So the number of boys we will have will be 52 minus Z. Now, this the total number of matches that will happen between these 52 is, the first one will play among 51, the second one will play among 51. So within this 52, we can say round robin is happening. So the total number of matches, the number of matches girls will play, the number of matches boys will play, the number of matches girls versus boys will happen. Sabko milakar, we will have the total matches as, so let's write down total matches is going to be 52C2, which is going to be 26 into 51. Let's not simplify it further. Itne total matches honge. Okay. If G girls are there, there are going to be a total of GC2 matches only by the girls, right? Then within the boys, we will have 52 minus GC2 matches. And then we will have a type of match which will happen between boys and girls, which will be G into 52 minus G. Okay, there are G girls, there are 52 minus G boys. Each girl will play against each of the 52 minus G boys. So total matches itne ho jayenge. You don't have to check the vice versa, because when girl plays with a boy, the boy also plays with each of the girls. So this is about junior. Now what about the seniors? So if you look at the seniors, the total number of people are 64, out of which, let's say, we have capital G girls. So, and we will have 64 minus capital G boys, obviously. Same logic. Total matches we will have is 64C2, which will result in 32 into 63. And the number of matches by girls alone will be GC2. The number of matches by the boys alone will be 64 minus GC2. And the number of matches between boys and girls is going to be G into 64 minus G. This is the breakup, right? Category wise. As per the question now, it is given that the number of girl versus girl matches in junior level is 351. So GC2 is 351. Now GC2 is nothing but G into G minus 1 into 2. So we can write G into G minus 1 is going to be 702. So we have to write 702 as a product of two consecutive numbers. Now 702 you can prime factorize and get there. या थोड़ा hit and trial कर ले. What is square root of 702? Well, square root of 729 is 27. So ये 26 into 27 होना चाहिए, because we need less than that. So we will have to verify that. 26 into 27. 9. 6 into 7 ends in 2, no? 26 into 27. ठीक है. 27 into 28 will be way more than that. 25 into 26 will not make sense. So if we compare, the number of girls we will have is 27. So here we have 27 girls. So obviously the number of boys we will have is 52 minus 27, which is going to be 25. Next part. The number of boy versus boy matches in senior level is 378. So we will have 64 minus GC2. This is given as 378. Now this will result in 64 minus G into 1 minus, right? So which will result in 63 minus G and divided by 2. So we will have 64 minus G into 63 minus G, that will result in 6756. So 756 is what we'll get. So this looks like 26 into 27 is 702. 27 into 28, I'll hide myself. 27 into 28 should result in 756. There is no other explanation that we can have, क्योंकि वो हाँ उसके आगे पीछे वाला तो होगा भी नहीं. So this is 27 into 28. If we compare, we will get let's say 63 minus G as 28. So that would result in G going to be, idhar girls, 63 minus what is 28? 63 minus 28. So 35. So G turns out to be 35. So that 64, 35. So that this turns out to be अच्छा नहीं 64 माइनस एक ज़्यादा है ना, तो 64 minus G should be this. ये 27 28 है. So if I'm taking 27, I will have to take the smaller number. 63 minus G should be 27. So that would result in this as 36. G is 36 and 64 minus G would be obviously 28. 64 minus G is 28, 63 minus G is 27. Okay, now we are asked to find out the number of matches a boy plays against a girl. So the total number of matches we will have is junior में 27 into 25 and senior में 36 into 28. So this will result in a 3. And let's see, none of the above का मतलब है कि it is जबरदस्ती इसको लेंदी बनाया गया है कि बच्चा जो है वो पूरा कैलकुलेशन करे. But I'm pretty sure it will end in 3 because this ends in 5 and this one ends in 8 into 6, 48. So 5 plus 8 will end in 3. So option A. Lengthy, right? ठीक है. Fine. Option A. Yeah, hi Tarun. Hi Jaka. The area of a rectangle and the square of its semi-perimeter are in the ratio 6:25. The area of a rectangle and the square of its semi-perimeter are in the ratio 6:25. Then the lengths of the shorter and longer sides of the rectangle are in the ratio. ठीक है. एक काम करो, आप लोग ये वाला क्वेश्चन जरा एक बार ट्राई करो. ठीक है. Let's see how many of you are able to answer this and what logic you are going to use. ये भी मेरे को जरा बता दो. Try. No one? चलो मैं सॉल्व कर देता हूँ. The area of a rectangle and the square of its semi-perimeter. So let's say the rectangle has the sides, breadth and length. So the area of the rectangle is going to be L into B, and the square of its semi-perimeter. So the semi-perimeter is going to be simply L plus B. This is given as 6:25. Then the lengths of the shorter and longer sides of the rectangle are in the ratio. Options use kar lo turant. Take 2 and 3. If I take 2 and 3, this is 2 into 3 is to 2 plus 3 ka whole square. So, will this work? काम करेगा ये? Or do we really need to put in the ratio वाला logic, as in कि x variable के terms लो और सब चीज़ accordingly फिर solve करो? Or is it good enough? Good enough? ठीक है. A. Next, the smallest integer n says that this is greater than 0 is going to be what? Thankfully, we have the option, so we will start putting in. You can try to factorize as much as you are comfortable with. Well, there is not much factorization that we can do, isn't it? So let's take 7. So we will have 7 cube minus 16 into 7 square plus 80 into 7 minus 128. So we are actually not going to calculate very accurately, approximate kar rahe hain. 7 cube, if you know the value, great. If you don't know, chalega. Plus 80 into 70, which is 560. So overall, you have around 900 as the positive sum. If I look at the negative sum, this is 16 into 49. Well, 16 into 50 would have been 800, right? Since it is 16 into 49, so we will have less than 800 plus 128. Looks like it's very close. So let's calculate this. These two, so this is going to be 16 into 49, which is 60 into 50 minus 1, which will result in 16 into 50, which is 800, minus 16, that will result in 784, and then we will have another 128, so 912 is what you will get. Let's solve this. So we will have this as 913, sorry, 903. So the positive one is 903, negative one is 912, so this is definitely not greater than 0. So 7 is not that smallest integer. Once that part is done, check out 8. So we will have 8 cube minus 16 into 8 square plus 80 into 8 minus 128. Now from this you can see that we have tons of 2's here. So 8 cube is actually 2 to the power 6 minus this is 16 is 2 to the power 4 into 2 to the power, sorry, this is not 6, this gets multiplied, right? So this is going to be 9. So this is going to be 2 to the power 4 into 2 to the power 6. So this is going to be 2 to the power 10. Then you will have 80 into 8. So 80 is 16. 16 into 8 is going to be 2 to the power 7 into 5. And then 128 is 2 to the power 7 again. So If you solve this, this is going to be minus of 2 to the power 9, right? And if I take out 2 to the power 7 from here, this is going to give us 5 minus 1, which is 4, which is 2 square, 2 to the power 9 over here. So this results in 0. So 8 greater than 0, ये भी नहीं है. This is exactly 0. So इसका मतलब एक ही ऑप्शन बचता है कि अब 9 पे तो बढ़ जाएगा. At 7 it was low, at 8 it was 0. As in at 7 it was negative, at 8 it was 0. It will not get negative again, it will cross. So at 9 we will be getting the smallest value of x. Sorry, smallest value of n. Okay, the next question. A parallelogram ABCD has area 72 square centimeter. If length of CD, so let's call this as ABCD. थोड़ा सा और better करने के लिए it doesn't say, right? So this is ABCD and let's say this is 8. And the length of AD is S. Then which of the following is necessarily true? Well, if I drop the perpendicular, then let's call this as height and the base is 8. So as per the area of a parallelogram, we know that base into height is given as 72. So this implies that h is going to be 9. So if h is 9, can we say s 9 se bada hoga? And since we are talking about a parallelogram, we can also have a rectangle. As in actually this point turns out to be D and C will shift. So a parallelogram means it's the head of the parallelogram family. Under parallelogram, you do have rhombus, rectangle, square, ye sab aate hain. So when we are talking about parallelogram, we are talking about all the other 3 members as well, right? All the other 3 quadrilaterals as well. So we can say that the minimum height is going to be 9, which is the side S, and it can be more than that. So ये 9 या 9 से तो बड़ा ही होगा. So 9 is inclusive here. So D is going to be the answer. Okay, next, the value of this sum 5 into 9 plus 9 into 13 plus 13 into 17 and so on plus 97 into 101 is going to be how much? So there is a jump of 4 every time, right? And 5, so whatever you end with in a term, that becomes the first term. So there is a jump of 4 between the first term of every term, between the first number of the every term, right? So 9 से 13 ये भी 4 है, 13 to 17 ये भी 4 है ना? So if I take 5 as n plus 4, why? Because I want to put 1 there. So next वाला जो हो जाएगा ना, that will be 4 more than that. 4 more than that, as in it will become n plus 8. So when n is going to be 1, I will be getting 5 into 9. When n is going to be 2, I'm supposed to get 9 into 13. So I'm supposed to get double of that. So इसको ऐसे लिख लेते हैं कि ये 1 plus 4n है and the other one is 1 plus 4n plus 4. So I hope this will make more sense. I could have skipped this step, पर मैं ये बताना चाहता हूँ कि if n is going to be 1, you will get 5. When n is going to be 2, you will get 9. When n is going to be 3, you will get 13. And the next one will be 4 ahead of it. So this is the general term here, which is nothing but 1 plus 4n into 5 plus 4n. If you open the brackets, you will be getting 16n square plus 20 plus 4, 24n plus 5. Now, since we know we need to find out the sum of this, we will have to take the summation. And summation will be when n is going to be 1 up to the maximum value of n we can have is 25, because 25 नहीं 25 नहीं 24 तक जाएगा. Why 24? Reason being I need this to be 97, right? So 96 plus 1 is 97. So for 96, 4n should be 24. So 24 तक. So what is the summation of n square? Summation of n square is n into n plus 1 into 2n plus 1 and then whole divided by 6. Then what is the summation of n? Summation of n is n into n plus 1 whole divided by 2. And what is the summation of 5? That is 5n. We are supposed to put 24 here. So we will have 16 into 24 into 25 into 24 ka double 48, 49 whole divided by 6 plus 24 into n as 24 into 25 whole divided by 2 plus 5 into 24. So this is the calculation wherein if you get such a question in CAT, you should actually use the calculator. Since we do not have that, I am going to simply solve it. ये 4 times हो जाएगा. This is 12 times. So the first one is going to give me 100, right? सारे 2 zeros हैं. So I need the last 3 digits actually, isn't it? Now 16 into 49 is going to end in 9 into 6, 54. So 400 से end होगा, the first term. Second one is 25 into 12 is 300. And 300 into 2400 is going to end in 300 into 2400 is going to end in 200. And the last one is going to give us 120. So this is going to end in 720, which is option A, right? Final answer जो है 720 बनेगा. So some of the questions are little calculative today, but this is the level that you should expect. Well, calculative अगर आपको लग रहा है तो आप कुछ कर भी नहीं सकते क्योंकि CAT के questions के variants हैं. We are solving CAT questions only, just that the values have changed a bit. Next question now. हाँ मिताली, we get questions. ये सारे CAT के हैं, except for one question that we were not able to solve because of a typo. That was a theta question. Other questions जो हैं उसमें आपको options देते हैं. A triangle ABC has area 64 square units and its side BC of length 8 units. It lies on the line x is equal to 8. Then the shortest possible distance between point A and the point O is going to be what? Fine. So let's draw this rectangular coordinate system. This is our point O, as in point origin, 0, 0. Then we have a line which is x is equal to 8. So I'm saying this is 8, this one is 4, this one is 2, this one is 6. Also it is given to us as BC is of length 8. So let's say this is B and this one is C. It lies on this particular line. If this is of length 8, so we know that this point is going to be 8, 8, है ना? X is 8 और वो भी आपका 8 पे ही है. ठीक है. Now we need the area to be 8 units. Area to be 64 units. Now see, we are going to consider this to be the base. So half into base into height should be 64. So what we will realize is this is 64, right? So ये 16 चाहिए हमें. So that 2 and 16, they will take care of, half will, 2 will go away, we'll be left with 8 into 8, 64. So we need the height to be 16. If I need the height to be 16, don't you think A should be over here so that this is the triangle that we are looking at? Now, what is that particular distance? So this length is already 8. We need the height to be 4. So this is going to be 4. So what is the distance between point A and the origin? 4 units, right? Now question arises, is this the shortest possible distance? क्योंकि मैंने तो right angle triangle assume कर लिया सीधे सीधे, so that my life is easier. दिमाग ज़्यादा नहीं लगाना पड़ेगा. But is it the shortest one? Well, I don't know. But if you look at the options, 4 से नीचे कोई वैल्यू तो है भी नहीं, right? The logic behind this is the shortest distance between O and any point is going to be, अगर एक point is already on the line and the other point has to be found, तो it should be in a straight line, है ना? जैसे कि एक you won't be able to see most probably. So if you have a point here, you have a point here, and you have a point here, right? So agar you are calculating the area, so if you do not go via this, आप डायरेक्ट ऐसे जाना चाहते हो तो ये आपको शॉर्टेस्ट डिस्टेंस देगा, right? This is not the shortest distance, this one is. But since you have to go through the origin because you want the height to be minimum, right? Minimum as in the height to be closest to O. So yeah, it should be in the same straight line. That is the reason why it should be on the negative part of the x-axis. Then only it will make sense. Okay? Hold on. Between point A अच्छा सॉरी मैं क्या कैलकुलेट कर रहा हूँ, 16 चाहिए ना, so this is going to be another 8. Sorry, we need 16, this is going to be another 8. So 8 is what you will have. Logic remains same, but here obviously we can't use the option and say that 8 is the smallest number. 4 is also the smallest number, right? If you try to draw a triangle with area as 8 somewhere in between, you will realize that you have just reduced the height, क्योंकि ये height already 8 है. If the point is already at the origin, if you try to go beyond it, it will still not be that enough. So obviously the distance between point A and origin is, this is least, this one is not. So अगर आप उसको extend करोगे वो काम नहीं करेगा, है ना? Same logic that we discussed before. We just can't use कि 8 is the smallest option. So simple calculation mistake. 16 is 8 plus 8, not 8 plus 4. Okay, anyways. F of x is equal to max of 4x and 3x square minus 4, where x is any positive real number. Find the minimum possible value of f of x. What do you do in such questions is, you first of all equate, and then you find the value or values of x where they are going to be same. So if I happen to take x is equal to 2, I think ये दे देगा, right? And what else? I think the next one is going to be a fraction, and fraction maybe it's going to be, is it 1 by 3 or 2 by 3? So if I take 1 by 3, no. If I take 4 by 3, no. It's supposed to be negative 1 by 3 wala types. So if I take negative 1 by 3, I'll have 1 by 3 minus 4, which will be a lot. Let's solve the quadratic only. So we'll have 3x square minus 4x minus 4 is equal to 0. So we will have one as 3x and another as x minus 2, of course, because we already know that 2 is one of the roots. So I will have 3x plus 2. So that will get 3x square plus 2x minus 6x is minus 4x minus 4. Okay. So another is minus 2 by 3. These are the two values of x where we will have it. Now we are looking at the max of this. I will use the graph. So x square is going to be this. 3x square is going to be a little more like this. And then 3x square minus 4 is going to be thoda sa niche. Okay, so this point is going to be 0 comma minus 4. Okay, if you look at y is equal to 4x now, so we will have y is equal to x is going to be this, right? पर हमें y is equal to 4x चाहिए. So that means it should be closer to y-axis. Okay. Now, since we are asked to find out the max of this, so the max means whatever graph is going to be at the higher side. So this is what we get. Then we will take this, and after that the parabola. So we can very clearly see from the graph that the first meeting point on the negative side of the x-axis is where you will find the minimum possible value. है ना? So this is supposed to be at -2/3. इससे कम तो नहीं होना चाहिए. And we don't have a range. Again, is there any typo here? Because at -2/3, the minimum possible value we are not getting is positive. It's actually a negative value. And we have y is equal to 4x. So it should be in the first and the third quadrant and not second and fourth. Okay, I get a positive answer. And since we are asked minimum maximum to infinity hoga. Why? x square minus 4x minus 4. Looks like some typo in the question, because the minimum possible value is going to be -8/3, right? If I put -2/3, the minimum possible value is -8/3. ये आएगा. Minimum height. Let me know if I'm making any mistake. Okay, we'll come back to that question later. Next, if a and b are integers such that this is greater than 0 and this is greater than equal to 0 for all real numbers x, then the largest possible value of 3a minus 5b is. So this is a parabola which is always, whose height is always positive. So this is a parabola something like this. X-axis के ऊपर होगा हमेशा. Now this happens when discriminant is less than 0. If you look at the next parabola, its height is greater than equal to 0. So that means non-negative, which means it might touch or it may go above. So this is the scenario where discriminant is less than equal to 0. So we will be getting a range in x and a range in a range in b, a range in a and range in b, and then we can find out the largest possible value. Do we have any other way to go about this? Unfortunately, I don't think, because we are not asked a and b में से किसी का value, we are asked a combo of that. So even options will not help. Fine. If you look at the first one, the discriminant, which is going to be a square minus 4 into 3 into 3, should be less than 0. So this will result in a square minus 36 is less than 0. So this results in a going to be from -6 to 6, not included. The next one is the discriminant is going to be b square minus 4 into 5 less than equal to 0. So we will get b square minus 20 is less than equal to 0. So this will result in b going to be from with a square bracket minus root 20 to root 20. Now root 20 is 4 point something, right? And we are talking about integers over here. So that means a can take values which is minus 5, minus 4 and so on up to 5. These are the values a can take. And similarly, since b is also an integer, b can take values from minus 4 point something, yani minus 4, minus 3 and so on up to 4. Question asked is what is the largest possible value of this? So in order to calculate the largest possible value, I have to make sure that 3a is as max as possible. So I'll choose the positive value of a. So we'll have 3 into 5. And then if I want minus 5b to be largest possible, I'll take the minimum value of b, negative value. So I'll take b as minus 4. So that I get 15 and then 20. This results in a 35. So obviously, that did not matter whether it was greater than equal to 0 or just greater than 0. Okay, so this is the 12th one. So there is some typo in this particular question because it says 0, but we can't get 0. 0 to tab hota jab minimum dhoondte. And there was one more question. The second one. The second one is an issue because yahan par ye typo tha. Okay. So while I gave you guys a question to solve, I was trying to think about what could be the change there. There could be one more typo, by the way. You can also have 9 to the power n over here because in actual CAT we did have, instead of 9 we had 2 to the power n. Yahan par 9n likha hua hai. So maybe this subscript is missing. We will get to know once we start solving. Now, this is the most important part, converting 3 to the power 324 as n to the power n. So what I will do is I'll first of all take out 2 from 324 and I'll be left with 162. So this results in 9 to the power 162, which is not same as n raised to n. Further I can do is take out further square here and I can get 162 ka half, which is going to be 81. Right? 81 into 2 is 162. So this results in 81 to the power 81. So n is 81. If n is 81, we are looking at 81 square plus 9 into 81. The thing that we can take out is 9 into 81 throughout. And then we'll be left with 9 plus 1 over here. So n square plus 9n is going to be 9 into 9 into 9 into 10, and we need this to be written as 9 to the power x ka kuch times. So the highest number of 9s that we have over here is 3. So 9 to the power n zarurat nahi tha. Question is perfect. It's just that the superscript 324 was missing there. It was written as 3324, right? Remember? So wo nahi ho raha tha. So x ki value 3 hogi minimum. Sorry, maximum, largest possible. Still stuck with this particular question, which is the max. So I'll just go through it once और एक बार देख लेता हूँ कि कुछ गड़बड़ेगा कि नहीं. The factorization part. Well, if I take this to be 4 by 3 minus 12, so minus 8 by 3 minus 8 by 3. Perfect है वो. So minus 2 by 3 पे, this is how I should have written. This is minus 2 by 3. And this one is 2. So they meet, both the graph, the parabola and the straight line, they both meet at 2 points. One is at minus 2 by 3 and one is at 2. And we are finding out the maximum. Sabka. So we will take the maximum or the higher graph of parabola and line. Initially it's parabola. Then it's the line. And then we have again the parabola. Now between these, we need to find the minimum possible value of whatever we are left with. So ये white वाला जो part है, इसका minimum तो ये है, and this is the minimum part, which means if I put minus 2 by 3 back, इधर put करो या इधर put करो, they are meeting, so obviously you will end up with the same height. We get minus 8 by 3 and we don't get a 0 here. Because question में 0 आ रहा है. So I'm saying there is some typo. Is it 3x square plus 4? Even that will not give us that. Is it 3x square minus 4x? Very much possible. That makes actually more sense. If we have 3x square minus 4x. एक बार मैं चेक कर लेता हूं. ठीक है, मुझे जगह चाहिए. Okay, suppose we have 4x is equal to 3x square minus 4x, or this results in 3x square minus 8x is equal to 0. This results in x is equal to 0 or x is equal to 8 by 3. So if I draw the graph, excuse me, of the parabola, it will be at 0 and it will be at 8 by 3, which is around 2 point something, right? So these are the two places where they meet. So this is the graph of the parabola. Now if I try to draw the graph of the straight line, so this is the graph of the straight line I will be having. Now if I'm asked to find out what is the max of this, before meeting the parabola was on the higher side, after meeting this straight line is on the higher side, and it will keep on remaining on the higher side, and then this parabola, when it meets, then parabola becomes the higher one. So the minimum is going to be 0. So the typo looks like it's going to be x here. If x is not there, then the answer is definitely minus 8 by 3. But since x अगर लगा दें तो आंसर 0 हो जाएगा. So ऑप्शन मैच कराएंगे तो हमें वो चेंज करना पड़ेगा क्वेश्चन में. Until next class, until next session, take care. Bye bye.